Anthony Albanese has been telling us for weeks that he will have a meeting when a meeting is scheduled with Donald Trump.
When we have a meeting, we'll have a meeting. And when it's scheduled, that will occur.
Okay. Well, of course we will have meetings. There'll be a range of meetings between now and the end of the year with President Trump.
Well, his failure to actually secure a meeting when a meeting has not been scheduled with the US president has become a lot more dire. Donald Trump is now threatening to slap us with more tariffs, this time of up to 200% on pharmaceutical products made outside of the United States.
We're going to give people about a year and a half to come in, and after that they're going to be tariffed if they have to bring the pharmaceuticals into the country, the drugs and other things into the country. They're going to be tariffed at a very, very high rate, like 200%. We'll give them a certain period of time to get their act together.
Now, pharmaceuticals are one of Australia's largest exports to the United States. About $2.2 billion in pharmaceutical products were exported to the US last year. And at the same time, Donald Trump has also announced a 50% tariffs on copper imports as part of this possible next round. So look, is it bad for us? Yes, absolutely. The threat of these pharmaceutical tariffs would no doubt be a blow to our already fragile manufacturing sector. And Labor is panicking.
We think that these tariffs inject an unnecessary element of uncertainty, unpredictability and volatility in the global economy, whether it's the developments on copper and pharmaceuticals or the tariffs more broadly. You know, we've made it clear we see them as bad for the American economy, the Australian economy and the global economy, and this extra element of unpredictability comes at a very unwelcome time.
But the question is, should we be surprised? Probably not. I mean, Donald Trump had been flagging pharmaceuticals would be next. And realistically, this is the new world under Donald Trump, who is forging ahead with making America great again and prioritising American-made products first, no matter the cost and no matter if it's right or wrong. It was only yesterday he sent letters to the heads of several countries informing them of their new tariff rate of 25%, including the US's key allies, Japan and South Korea. And I asked former White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer on the show last night why Trump is changing the rules.
Simply put, because he can. Look, he is emboldened. He is on fire the last few weeks.
He can and he will. It's simple. So what can we do about it? Well, it's easy. Former trade advisor to President Trump, Kellyanne Shaw, told Sky News that all the Albanese government needed to do is meet with President Trump.
I would assume that the government of Australia would be interested in negotiating something similar to what the UK seems to have gotten, which is that their exporters and their producers won't be paying those types of tariffs. And so we've seen these sectoral investigations on steel, aluminum, autos, pharmaceutical, semiconductors as being wrapped up in these broader negotiations. And so my assumption is this is something that both governments are talking about right now.
Now, of course, the elephant. The elephant in the room is that Albo has been unable to meet with Donald Trump. The United Kingdom and Canada have already secured exemptions amid broader negotiations and commitments to significantly lift defence spending. But of course, Albo has refused to lift ours. And this announcement by Trump comes on the eve of Anthony Albanese's trip to China. Key word being China, not our number one ally in the United States. Politically, the Prime Minister has fallen on his sword when it comes to diplomatic relations. He hasn't been able to secure that all-important US meeting. He sent Penny Wong over to Washington for a peacekeeping mission last week, but, she came back empty-handed. And so the PM has embarrassingly been reduced to banking on a series of upcoming summits in the hope of getting just 5 minutes with the most powerful man in the world. He's got the Quad meeting in India coming up, and if that fails, the next best bet is the G20, and then the APEC summit. Both of those are in November. So he's desperately hoping for a miracle bump into the president moment at one of the 3 summits, or desperately hoping he doesn't have to head over to Washington himself, or desperately hoping Trump will call him, or desperately hoping. I mean, he's hardly making the case for diplomacy, especially in the face of what Trump is taking into account when it comes to tariff negotiations.
We'll look at how a country treats us. Are they good? Are they not so good?
And it's not like Trump isn't meeting with world leaders. The leader of the UK, Ireland, Canada, El Salvador, Jordan, Japan, Ukraine, and just this week, of course, the Israeli Prime Minister have all made the trip to the White House. He is meeting with leaders. But Anthony Albanese doesn't know Donald Trump. They've never met. So there's no way he is in a position to negotiate tariffs, let alone this latest threat. Now, in terms of pharmaceuticals, America's pharmaceutical lobby had been pushing Trump to slap us with tariffs in retaliation for the pharmaceutical benefits scheme. Now, this scheme requires drug companies to negotiate prices with the government in order for customers to receive a subsidy. The Treasurer says that's not up for negotiation.
We make it clear once again, as we have on a number of occasions in recent months, that the PBS is not on the table from an Australian point of view.
And look, I have to agree with the Treasurer here. That is a good thing. Obviously, the PBS is in place to give us cheaper medicines. But the question is, what can Australia really offer the United States now to try and give us some wriggle room in negotiating tariffs? And the opposition is rightly asking questions.
It should come as no surprise to the government, which is why I'm just so angry that the Prime Minister has not prioritised the relationship with the United States. People have been talking about the threat to our pharmaceutical sector through tariffs for months now, but the government has not taken adequate action. Any tariffs against the sector should be opposed. They fly in the face of the spirit of our relationship with the United States and our free trade agreement. But it's up to the government of the day to prosecute the case.
So whether Trump actually follows through on his latest threat is one thing. But the reality is, we're not offering the US anything. We aren't budging on defence spending. Albo won't go to Washington, but is about to have his 4th meeting with China. So again, it looks like the handsome boy from Australia misses out again.